Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome in. Oof. That was a rough one, huh? Is everyone else feeling a little chafed after that one? A little rough around the edges? I'm feeling a little like that right now. That's a 5-2 drubbing. We were in it in the first half, outside of the first minute. We were in this game. What happened in the second half? I haven't seen a capitulation, a collapse like that in a while. I put this to the Discord because I don't know. I don't know what the answer was. What happened? What was the cause of the tale of two halves? Was it RSL's changes at the halftime? Did we run out of steam? Did RSL just decide to remember how to play cohesively? Did we forget how to attempt to win second balls, win a lot of battles, cut off passing lanes? Did we just completely forget how to do it in the second half? I don't know what it was. I'm a little perplexed. So, we're here plumbing the community for answers. And one of the best that we can get is the mind of AJ. So AJ, real quick before we get into talking with some of our guests, we're not going to have a super long show tonight. It's already midnight. Dang, these West Coast games. So, yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, AJ, how are you feeling, first of all? And second of all, what the hell happened?
I think there are some pretty decent answers for what happened. But first off, with the, MLS After Dark, when it's already midnight, if you're playing an East Coast side and you're a West Coast team, I feel like the scheduling needs to be a little bit earlier, just so the fans on the East Coast don't have to stay up ridiculously late. And, make it a, instead of a 9:30 kickoff, make it like an 8:30 or a 7:30. And it'll be okay. It's like, okay, that team on the West Coast has to play at 4:30. It's fine. Or it's 5:30, whatever the difference is between Mountain Time and Eastern. I think it's still only 2, but either way. As far as LA United and, the first half, conceding a goal in the 48 seconds is egregious. Yes, absolutely. But, I like the response that we had. I question if, and because we didn't finish off those chances, well, we left the door open for them, because you have to score when you're on top. Mm-hmm. And yes, we only scored once. There were some definite other chances that we should have put away. And, we spent a lot of energy to really get back into the match and really kind of own that first half, besides the just complete, brain fart in the first, from kickoff. But it's the second half that's what I feared. After watching that first half, I was like, wow, we have expended a ton of energy, and with not absolutely the most to show for it. And the issue is, after a weekday match, and then plus travel and all that, the legs were gone from a good number of the players on the team. And so, you have players that are ball watching. You have players that essentially, they're almost kind of going through the motions. You see them kind of go for the ball a little bit, but then they don't follow through in completely wanting to finish off the play, finish defensively, clearing the ball. Instead, it's a ton of players that, for each of these goals, you can see, just players that are asleep. And, in turn, I think a lot of fans, they probably turned off. They themselves were asleep, because, the second half wasn't necessarily a banner type of attack for LA United either. And it's just, I think the wingbacks, both of them, look exhausted I think the setup going into the match as well with McCarty and Schleich, like we previewed this. That's an extremely slow midfield and not very athletic. And I think we saw what happened. Is that even from kickoff, just what it is. They can't cover that much ground, and RSL are super dangerous, as we saw tonight. On the break, playing at pace, one touch, and they're super clinical. They're a very good team. Take nothing away. I also saw some, this happens every single match in which we get scored on, but people were blaming Braguzan. I think 4 of the goals are not his fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of them maybe he could have gotten to.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just the defense was asleep, and it's just.
How do you leave open the most dangerous player on the pitch?
Yep. Right.
On
that
a set
goal,
piece.
Right, exactly. That goal, Chicho Arango, we played too high of a line. Like, we were setting ourselves up for the back post to be attacked. Like, it's just... There was nobody even paying attention to him. And at that point, it's like, why is that the case when we're playing such a high line? Yeah, you should probably mark their striker, or at least keep an eye on him. But instead, yeah.
Like, whose responsibility is that? Like,
yeah.
Is it not one guy? Is it like, he comes into your zone, then you cover that guy? Or is this just, this is your guy? Because if it's a this your guy kind of thing, someone effed up big time.
Right, but it's also this. It's like you, with that high of a line, when it's not maybe at the edge of the box, you're allowing your attacker, or you're allowing the opposition rather, to get a full head of steam. And so that header was just completely out of reach for him, for Guzan, because like you gave him acres of space to aim for. Instead of when you play a little bit deeper of a line, then you are blocking off a lot more of the angles. Because where they were, it was just like, okay, obviously they're not going to shoot from there, and so it's just, it's boneheaded defending. It's while Hernandez did have a little bit of a nice block or interception in the box for one of them, it's just one of these things where this was not the match for him, I think, in a 3-man back line. Like, we probably should have stuck with him. Morales, we probably could have, had a different look. It's just, it's hindsight.
They have a 6'5" guy, or 6'6" guy, I think. Why not Efren Morales then?
Right, like Hernandez. Every time in a 3-man back line, there's holes. There's holes in how he plays, and he's not the only person to be singled out, but he's part of the back line that, like, there is the fluidity in having Hernandez and Lennon, that you can maybe push up Lennon, and then Saba can maybe push a little bit more into the interior. But we weren't necessarily doing that. Saba, he did find himself a little bit more central, especially for his goal. But I think ultimately, it's just, defensively, it's not astute enough. It's not aware enough of the danger. And, this back line tonight, just capitulated, like you mentioned. Like, there were too many moments where they just let their man continue, instead of going after the ball, and basically trying to finish out the play defensively. Just didn't happen. Yeah. Time and time again. And you can commend some of the effort on attack tonight, but defensively, shocking.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
shockingly bad. I will say, there's the big highlight for me of this game was in the first half with that little move by Caleb Wiley to get the ball free, and then having it get to Saba, who then plays it off of Rios back to himself for our first goal. That was incredible. That was amazing team goal. That was like highlight reel material. I'm sure the media guys will be putting that on repeat on the social medias in the coming days. And it's worth looking at. It's a great goal. It just sucks that it's mired and just piled on top of by all this other horrible defensive work. So, it is what it is. It's a tough going for Saba, who probably feels like he tried his heart out this game, did well. And then, the rest of the team gets a drubbing. So, let's look at some of the comments. Oh, yeah, go for it. Finish up your idea.
2 goals, we should absolutely at least get a result. But
away, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly, right? Like, it's just outrageous that, it's just 5 goals in we've been playing well defensively for the most part since, a few lapses of concentration. But now, I think we're at a -1 goal differential, for the first time, I think, this season. So, yeah, it's our worst result this season somehow. And all of it's a case of this. I think we saw a little bit more of the ball than we really wanted, and every single time they just carved us up. Like, it's...
Yeah, I mean, we had 37% possession this game, but yeah.
Well, I think it was more like when we were chasing, and we had to be on the ball, and we committed a lot of men forward. It was easy to slice us.
RSL is the type of team that will devour you when they can put you on your heels, and they force you to come out. So, yeah, I mean, I was thinking this RSL attack, this team, the fact that they let in 2 goals but just don't care and will steamroll you regardless, it reminds me so much of 2018 Atlanta United. Like, they're just like, we're just going to defeat you with a torrent of goals from, our incredibly dynamic, fast, and talented attack. And it was delightful to see. It was like, that was very, very good MLS attack. I was impressed by it. I was also impressed by just like the dude off of the, a move off of the training pitch, just as a set piece, Diego Luna no-look pass to the guy who just one touches it to the top bins. Like god dang, that's like, that just sucks, man. But, it's just good for you. You were feeling it. That whole team was feeling it. And Jesus Christ, like, when they get started, it is terrifying, just like we were in 2018. So I feel like where we were then is like, what they're feeling now.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I think there were a lot of players that were also motivated on that team. Diego Luna, apparently snubbed for an Olympics berth, and a goal and 3 assists. Yeah, that is shameful to have given up to one player. Like, it's just, yes, he had a really good night. I think after the first 2 goal involvements, it's like, okay, yeah, we should put someone to man mark Luna, but instead, you just got more space to work with, and carved us up. So.
All right, let's get to the guests.
Yep.
We got 2 tonight. Connor's joining us first, and then we have our good buddy Niall. Let's see him come in a minute, and while we're waiting on him, let's look at some of these comments. So we got Gavin in the chat, Connor Watson in the chat. Howdy both of y'all. Gavin says, I in fact did turn the TV off, AJ, if that's what you were saying. Kevin B said, same. On an unrelated note, Luna should be on the Olympic roster. Or a very related note. Omar says, I think it all came down to players' energy level. The team just fell asleep in the second half. Rob took too long to swap players early enough to make a difference because the USOC game on Tuesday. Anu says, good evening. We better get those reinforcements in this summer. And Omar says, good night, guys. Have a fun show. And Jack Dickens, retype your message because it got retracted. And now we are here with Connor. How you doing, buddy?
Howdy. I've been better, been worse though. Disappointing, but honestly, it was a good game to watch. At least outside of some of the other games, I at least enjoyed what the opponents were doing a lot. I thought it was a very if I was a neutral, I would have been very entertained.
Yeah, I feel like this result was like what should have happened to us in Miami against Messi.
Yeah, it's kind of like the thing that frustrated me the most is we had so many opportunities to really just sink them in, and we don't have any lethality right now, and we just without that. So I was what lost us this game was pressing into the box, and I was like, well, I kind of misunderstood what they meant. I was like, okay, yeah, that technically is what lost us the match, but what lost us the match is we weren't able to take a hold of it whenever we had the opportunity, and we just let it continue. They just got back into it, and they just let their whole entire all their spirit just flow out onto us, and we had our opportunity and we just didn't take it.
Absolutely. Before we continue, Connor, I think there's some noise-making machine in your background that's trying to drown you out.
Let me see. I'm a fan. I'll look it up.
All right, yeah, thank you. But yeah, so what do you think of that, AJ? Did you say anything that piqued your interest?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, energy levels were a big culprit. Yeah, the opportunities that we didn't take, like we mentioned at the top as well. It's just you have to take care of the chances that you get, and it's what happens. It's what happens in any league.
Yeah.
You don't take your chances. You don't finish off your dinner. Someone's gonna finish it for you.
Yeah.
And
this RSL team is not a team that will have leftovers, so you gotta put them away.
Right. Yeah. It was you saw the stats. It's less than 2 xG. It's
let me read that for you guys. So the RSL had a 1.87 xG. They scored 5. Let that sink in. And we had a 1.10. We had 14 total shots to their 12. Bragazan only made 1 save. They had 3 keeper saves. The corner kicks were even at 5 apiece, and 11 fouls for them and 8 to us. And the rest are kind of whatever.
6 shots on target for them, which 5 of them were goals. It's just they are clinical, and there is that stat out there that we're around 3rd in the league in XG with created chances and all that. Yeah, we're bad at finishing. We're really bad at finishing, and that's what's the difference. Is you get your chances, you have to finish them, and especially on the road, we don't do that.
Yeah,
we haven't done it all season, and likely we haven't done that in a few years. Really.
True. Connor, was there any bright spots for you tonight, or was it all just oof?
Bright spots. I mean, I think one of the things that I found very interesting that's not really a bright spot is they scored a lot of goals, but it didn't feel like they didn't shoot that often, which is the weirdest part for me. Because it also in the second half, I thought they had a lot more I felt like they had a lot more shots just overall than they actually did.
Mm-hmm.
And that may also just be my mind thinking they had some really, really, really good opportunities, and it's just but I mean, I don't know. There's not really many bright spots, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, keeping a home side to like 12 shots is not that bad. But that's the thing, like AJ said, they finished their meals, so.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer single-digit shots personally. But yes, 12 is not terrible, but still ain't great.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, yeah. As far as the goals, I mean, obviously Saba's, that was a great team goal, but Daniel Rios, that one, I mean, yeah. How'd you find the goals for yourself?
Let's see. Saba's was really, really good. I said in the chat whenever we first scored that, I was like, we scored this kind of goal, and then we don't score like tap-ins or easy chances, and that's just kind of how the whole entire season's felt. So that's one thing. But second goal, basically the same thing that happened on our goals. They just stop marking the Rios, and he had a free header. I mean, it was just kind of what happens.
Why can't they do that? Why can't they stop marking him on like set pieces? Like, why can't we score on set pieces?
I mean, it's just like what happens in every game. You get comfortable in the score line and you just don't pick up your man, and it's a consolation goal. It doesn't really matter in the end of the day for them. If it gets closer, they're just going to turn it back up again. I mean, it's just kind of...
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Did you hear about my apt comparison to the 2018 Atlanta United team, where we just basically are going to run you over with goals, and it doesn't... Yeah, you can score one or two. Doesn't matter. We're just going to run you over. Was that... Did you think that made sense, or was that off base?
It's also just a kind of like how they... This game doesn't necessarily like tell it how it was, but like also just the way that they play, they're going to give up big XG chances, but they're going to make big XG chances. So they're going to score a lot, but they'll give up a goal or two. It's just how they play.
Yeah, high risk, high reward.
Yeah, it's kind of how we wanted to play to begin with, like earlier on in the year, because like giving up goals, if you score more than them, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Obviously, you don't want to concede, but if you score more, it'll be fine for the day.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, it's late. We'll just try to keep it, going. What are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Let's see. Need to make signings. Honestly, everyone's saying that we need to find a manager. I don't think any manager you bring in, I don't necessarily know if they're going to do anything with this team anyway. So I understand the need for it, but I mean, I think if you don't have the right guy, the next manager needs to be the right guy, and if you don't have the right guy right now, I don't necessarily think it can get much worse than it already is. So I mean, I think you need to make sure at the end of the day what comes next needs to be the right step, and if you don't think that you're going into that, then that just shouldn't be the answer right now.
Yeah.
It is definitely interesting because, obviously, who's going to want to coach a DP-less team right now?
I think it's interesting because that also means that you kind of like if they really trust in you, you're gonna get to do what you want. It's almost like building a new roster, like from an expansion team. I mean, it's not because you already have people here, and it's hard to get people out of contracts in MLS, but you get to build around the players that you want.
It's as close as you can get to it being expansion without it being one. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Right. It's basically a big reset, and so it does allow a coach to pick their players, but you're also, would they just be better served to just have a clean slate at the, at the start of a season, essentially?
If they do come into the middle of the season, though, you get to kind of see who's going to buy in with you. I would say maybe that's a possibility.
True.
I think, and also you can kind of get to see what personalities are in the dressing room before the off season comes around. So I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of like with you. I don't know who wants to come in and take over this whole project, because it's a multi-year project again. This is a 2-year fit. So I don't know.
if it was if Yakumakis and Almada were still here, it'd be a different story.
Yeah.
It would be a completely, yes, you have players that are talented, but you just have to figure out how to make them fit and have them thrive. And okay, yeah, someone that's good at having players thrive, that's somebody to bring in. But now it's more just like, okay, well, it's a complete crapshoot. You're coming into a project, and it's not just a not just a short term. And it's possible, yes. Again, MLS is very forgiving, but yeah, I mean, it's like, yes, you can possibly do some Seattle Sounders second half magic, but I mean, I think we're quickly running out of games as well.
And we are trending down, so.
But
yeah.
I think that you have a lot more game changers in those teams than you do with our team, but
yeah, it's a bit different as well. So yeah,
100%.
People that make that argument of like, oh yeah, Lagerwey, he's got the track record with the Sounders. It's like he also had much better stalwarts in his team that know how to turn it around, that have done it time and time again.
It's also, he had a lot of, like, I think one thing that people maybe not see in that is they had a lot of players there that wanted to continue playing there that probably were better and could have gone better.
100%.
But they just continued wanting to play there.
Yep.
That
frustrates me so much, man, when I see that in teams. Yeah.
We don't have those people.
Yeah, because when we won in 2018, everyone's like, bye, because we want more money because we're good. And you look over Seattle, everyone's like, yeah, I'm gonna hang out for a little bit longer and not take a pay raise.
When you buy a 21-year-old, that's kind of what ends up happening, though. Like, you're buying a 26-year-old who's making good money. They're not really, like, they're not going to be, the difference in money isn't going to be that huge for them. Like, if they go and find somewhere else to play.
Right.
Unless if they absolutely just become something completely different overnight. But, I mean, like, it's just whenever you're buying a 20-year-old. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to add on to it. Is that, yeah, it's like when you have the young wonder kids or the kids that haven't tasted Europe and they want to go to Europe, well, yeah, we're just asking for our window of playing the best ball to be very, very minuscule and short. And hopefully we have learned from this. I don't know if we have, but
yeah, we'll see.
We have.
All right, Connor, thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you later. Have a good rest of your night, bud.
Appreciate you. See ya.
Thank you.
All right, let's look at some of the chat. Probably not too much. Yeah, nothing at all because it is super late. And if you guys are in here joining us still, there's around 10 of you still here. Please get your comments and questions in because we're going to get out of here soon because, again, it's super late. So we'll be joining for our last guest real quick and we'll finish up with Niall. But yeah, I was thinking like... while he was talking about coaching, what was it? Oh, I'm going to lose it now that I had to remember it. What was I going to say? That...
Such an emphasis on member. Remember.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to remember it. My brain is doing another thing while I'm talking, so it's like, it's siphoning power from one area to another.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I got a notification. It was like... my whole thought process almost got thrown off. But
and then not only that, but I'm already running at like 50% because it's late. So
yeah, both of us have been awake since the early AM today. So, yes, we are tired, but yeah, I mean, as far as coaching,
I remember now. So the commentators were saying like they were kind of like implicitly implying. Which is kind of redundant, but whatever. They're implying that Pineda didn't really demand the respect of our players, and that the reason why that's implied is because they went on to say, "Oh, Atlanta, they need a coach that can come in and demand the respect of the players from the get-go. Right when he opens, the coach opens the door." The players are immediately like, oh, I know, okay, I need to, take my place, at the foot of the coach or whatever. Like,
and I'll Yeah, anything that he says, I'll absolutely listen. Yeah, I clock that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're RSL guys that I think cover RSL more than Atlanta, and from the outside, I can respect that there are outside opinions. Um, I don't think it's that Pineda didn't have respect of players, but it's like ultimate respect, and kind of okay, you've been there, done that type of thing. Okay, I can see that, but I think it's more if you are a young coach, but you can, people are buying into the process, then okay, yeah, they will absolutely okay, yes. It doesn't matter how nascent your career is. If they can see what you're building, then great. Problem is, Pineda was supposed to be this tactician. I think he was more just a player's coach.
Yeah.
Versus a real, like, oh man, like what he's doing, you can really see if he just gets the right players, you can really see it's no. Like it just ultimately on the road, like he just never solved that. It was like the same issues over and over again. And if you're buying into a process, you want to see, problems being fixed.
Right.
And they never work.
Yeah, progress is, a good solvent, or a salve, rather, I guess you could say, for a lot of your ailments. So, like, things can be bad, but if you see progress, you're trending in the right direction. It makes you feel like, okay, there's someone at the helm who's guiding this in the right direction. So, anyway, so we're joined with Niall. Niall, how you doing, bud? Tell us about this big stinker of a game that we put out there tonight.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I don't know. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to say about it, honestly. I don't know. We had a really bad start, right?
Oh yeah.
Just like 40 seconds in, they score, and then after that, for the first half, we were the better team and we played pretty well. And then in the second half, we found an equalizer early on. That was a good goal from Saba and Rios and Sleesh with sort of the combination set up. But then I just started to drop off after that. I don't know what it was, but just defensively, there was just a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that you can't really it can't really have that happen.
Was it? Oh, sure. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. For example, I don't know how Chicho Arango is unmarked in the box.
Yeah.
You can't let that happen, right? That's that's rule number one.
Yeah, exactly.
RSL, don't let Chicho Arango have space in the box, and he got exactly that space in the box. Lennon or Cobb or somebody had to be on him. So that, and it just the goals
it was Fernandez, I think, usually covering him in the box. So because there was one moment they were showing Aranjo, he was hugging the defender, just trying to get away from his marker, which was Hernandez, and so it was definitely, if we were staying with man marking, then Hernandez was this guy.
Yikes.
So, yeah.
He didn't have I feel like that was a mistake to play him as a center back. I get Abram last match was not great, so Rob probably wanted to change that, but I don't think Hernandez was the choice to go with. But honestly, he didn't really have that many other choices since Gregerson got suspended. But overall, I just
did he punt this game for the U.S. Open Cup?
I mean, I think he still started the strongest 11 that he could.
Did he?
Because it's this. So, yeah, besides McCarty and Hernandez, because
he didn't. Yeah, I mean, Tristan is.
Depends on who you want. Yeah, it depends on who you want to have in there. But it also is Muyumba played a good number of minutes Wednesday as well.
Right.
He almost had to. but I think Morales probably should have been in instead of Hernandez. I mean, this is hindsight, all that, blah blah blah. But like
Well, I mean,
looking at the lineup when it dropped, it's like,
yeah, I mean, just looking at the fact that they have like a 6'6" guy, like you got to have some kind of height to match that, or at least a little bit.
yeah, Williams is in there, but it's just a matter of like
Williams.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Williams.
Williams is
he's
not
pretty good.
not gonna be able to do anything against a 6'6" guy. It's like Morales has some height to him.
Yeah, and ultimately, I don't think that's what.
No, it
us.
didn't, but it could have.
Yeah, I think it was more defending in the box than undid us, and I think Morales is a good in the box defender, and will sense and smell that danger, but he never saw the pitch tonight, and so I guess maybe he was saved for Tuesday, but you're center back, like you don't need that much rest. It's fine. Like like the running comparison is a lot less relatively. So it is what it is. I mean, we can question Valentino's selection in hindsight, but I think ultimately it's just we just don't have enough players that are top level.
My thing too is like a bit of like this is a futile endeavor in just in general to analyze a game that in my estimation doesn't matter that much because we just don't have a full complement of a team to really be like, okay, here are either systemic issues that are going to be problematic for us. So it's like, well, things are just going to change anyway. So what's the point of analyzing it right now? Especially even with like Rob's tactics, like maybe it'll be interesting for him going to his next job or whatever. But for his time with Atlanta United, I just don't think we're going to go to like the MLS Cup and we're going to really be like, we should be analyzing his every decision. I just don't think that's really that important. So it's hard for me to like want to put my mind to it that much.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you, but I think it also is this. It's if he's given the chance, I think these are those moments that, I think are to be assessed, and how he can cope without DPs, which has been a very, consistent problem for LA United, and with Gonzalo Pineda, I mean, I think it's a little bit of this. It's like, it's a little bit of the. Maybe hangover from Pineda, but it is to a degree too. I mean, I think he's dealt with, arguably in a small sample size, without having DPs a little bit better than Gonzalo Pineda has. But obviously it's a few games into his 2.0 tenure. So, but
Niall,
Niall,
I had a question for you. So Rob was saying that he wants to make new mistakes instead of old mistakes. He keeps saying that in his press conferences. Do you think we made enough new mistakes this game?
I feel like we made pretty similar mistakes.
I feel like we haven't gotten beat 5 or let in 5 yet, so maybe that's new.
That's new, but like the way it happened is not new to me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just the way that first of all, like the way that you concede an opening goal like that with nobody's marking the man in the box, and then also like it's like I remember like this also with Benteke, but how do you not mark the man in the box? Like, how do you not mark the best player for Real Salt Lake, Chicho Arango, MLS Golden Boot leader? How do you not mark him? That's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
There is this aspect too, though. I mean, it's like the Messi argument. It's like, yes, some people are inevitable, especially if they're having a really good season.
Right.
So, as I say, and other people around the world maybe have said it as well. Other teams can tactics too, and they saw the weakness that they can exploit, which is our back post, time and time again. It's just And given we're not the only team that suffers at back post, it's a great tactic for teams to try to hurt teams, because you're gonna lose your marker. It's just will happen. But yeah, I mean, it's just like Araujo, that this is what he's good at. Like, you give him a look in the box, he only needs one chance, and this is what it is. And so, ultimately, I think that one, besides giving up the foul to begin with and playing such a high line, okay, say we give him that one. The 4 other ones, preventable to some degree.
Yeah.
Besides, okay, maybe Derek Williams, that that chest down, but it's still, there's an aspect of that where there's not the players around that smelling the danger to quickly clear it. Instead, they let an RSL player get his foot on it. I mean, it's just, yeah. There's just those various things that are like, maybe it's fatigue, maybe it's all that. We can give excuses all damn day, but it's like, I think it ultimately still comes down to, like we were mentioning, they're not at the level that we need them to be.
Yeah,
they're learning their craft, or they're just not good enough.
Plateaued, yeah, 100%. Niles, before I ask you for your last opinions, I just want to address one comment in the chat from RJ Nelson. He says, maybe it's time to change the fan reaction graphic, because we still have Yorgos Yakimakis on there. So, yeah, listen, loud and clear, we'll get our graphics team on it immediately and get it changed up. But that might take a lead time of a couple weeks, maybe some months. We'll see. But we hear you. We understand. To be fair, we thought he'd be here longer. And it takes a little while to make these things. So
it was like, oh yeah, who's someone that's saying that they're gonna be here a while and probably good enough to be here a while? Just kidding.
Yeah. So maybe we'll make a new one. We get a new DP9 and make one out of that. So that'll be kind of hopefully evergreen for a while. So we'll see. But yes, we heard. And Connor Watson says, who does set pieces for us?
As far as is that a actual actual question? Is he actually imploring, or?
I mean, I know he knows that like Brooks Lennon, obviously. Oh, he's probably asking like our free kicks. Who are they going to be from? Like in Almada range.
Yeah, it'll probably still be Lennon and maybe Saba. I mean, I imagine that's probably that's it. I mean, those are probably our most technical players on the ball anyway, at least from a dead ball situation. Lennon, we wouldn't exactly call him super technical, but delivery wise, he can do it. And besides, one of his corners was really weak tonight, that was a little bit questionable. It was, he tried kind of a just a little mid-range one, kind of going for the near post, and it was very odd because nobody was attacking that. So it was like, I think he just mishit that, but it's either way. Lennon,
so he's amending that question to say, well, who creates set pieces on the coaching side? Is it more so the players, or is one coach role to do them? Like I guess he's asking, do we have a set piece coach?
Yeah, do we have a set? I don't think we have a set piece coach. We just hired some people, like, as far as for assistants. A set piece coach and a throwing coach and those type of are like when you actually have a full-fledged coaching staff, then you flesh out with those extra pieces. I think you still right now, Valentino needs guys to just put cones down. I mean, it's just like yes, he has 2 of them now with Matt Lowry and Carl Robinson, but obviously I think he needs more than that. And I would imagine Robinson is his right-hand man, so say if Valentino got red carded or something like that, then Robinson's probably next up. But yeah, I don't know. It's I mentioned this in previous years. I wanted us to really focus on those 1% that we can improve on, them being like the long throw ins or set pieces that you can replicate some things where you're in the box, you can kind of run plays essentially, but we don't do any of that. It's kind of just like we're just aiming for the biggest guy in the box.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, Connor's really trying to find out. He's trying to snuff out where the blame rests on us being abysmal at defending set pieces and literally like the worst in the league in delivering set pieces. So where does the blame lie in regards to that?
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like we don't have bad delivery most of the time. It's just that we don't really have a scheme that we're trying to. We don't have things that we're trying to do, like a near post flick on to the back post, or like as a repeatable play where you maybe have guys that are setting picks.
Yeah,
it's like definitely a thing that is now more common, where you have guys that maybe are crowding out the goalkeeper, and then you have a decoy run. You have all sorts of things that you work on.
Yeah, and they're called set pieces for a reason. It's like you have things moving, but or you get a situation where Thiago Almada just takes a short under hit pass and then gives it to the other team for a goal. So we're just not very good at these types of things right now. So
no, yeah, it's really, I think what Valentino was talking about is returning to the basics. And so those things we can probably work on a little bit later, but it also is that it's like you have those teams that smash and grab really well, so they work on those set pieces, they work on defense, they work on making sure that they are tight defensively, that they don't concede stuff. So that's probably those things that we need to work on versus playing out from the back, versus let's break it down into the simple basic things that we absolutely need to focus on. And I think it's those things: smash and grab some teams, figure out how to be completely defensively stout with kind of an undermanned subpar talent team, and then you build from there. But
Niall, what's your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, RSL is a good team. I mean, they're second in the West for a reason. But I mean, as Rob Valentino said in the press conference today, we absolutely gave it to them. A lot of those goals were preventable goals. I understand if it was a 3-1, 3-2 result, that's fine. But a 5-2 loss, it doesn't get any more pretty worse than that. I mean, the fact that you were close in the first half and then the second half things just started to get out of hand, it's not a good look at all. So that's something that I think they're gonna have to take a look at in terms of how just things spiraled very quickly, because if you do that again against other teams like RSL, they will punish you.
Yeah, the wheels fell off very clearly here.
They fell off very quickly.
Yeah, and it's because of not only the fatigue, but also when you are chasing goals, and when we had the better first half, I think that kind of gives the team a kind of false sense of we should be back in this match. I think they pushed so far up. They were trying to score 2 goals on one play, and it's just once it was 3-1, it was just you shouldn't let them score a 4th and a 5th. Just hang in there.
Yeah,
hang in there, and then maybe in the latter part of the match, like we were trying to do on Wednesday, okay, yes.
Yeah, that's a
Get
good
back
point.
in the late-
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like the idea is like if you find the other team is on like a 3-goal scoring streak, like maybe chill them out. You know, like it's like in hockey. When you're down and you're trying to come back at the end of the game, you pull your goalie, right? However, if they score on you when you've pulled your goalie, you don't just keep the goalie out. You put him back in to chill out the other team for like a minute or like 30 seconds or something, and then you pull him out again. I like take them off of their run, you know, time them out, you know, snuff them out, and then try and build something instead of just,
Right.
you know, nonstop go.
Right, exactly. Like we were playing right into their pace, the way that they wanted to play. Essentially, we didn't break it up. Like we should have shithoused a little bit more. We should have tried to waste some time, foul them, you know, in a way that basically slows the game down. Like really disrupt.
Yeah,
what
it's
they're trying to
funny
do.
you say that because my wife was watching, and she saw Daniel Rios getting bullied a bit and not
Yeah.
really like falling down. He just kind of stayed up, not taking a
Yeah.
foul or anything. And then my wife goes like, "Isn't he a Mexican player? Why isn't he better at that for us? I thought that's why we should have players like that." She's been
It's true.
watching
I mean,
way
yeah.
too many Nations League and Gold Cup games with me.
Oh, sure, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, you know, generally, you know, there's a lot of shit housing in, you know, a lot of other leagues. And, you know,
You give him a little bit of the
A little bit.
CONCACAF, you know?
yeah, exactly. And, you know, he comes from a league that definitely encourages it. So it's, yeah, it is perplexing. It's a great point.
Yeah. All right, so one last thing real quick, and then we'll let Niall go. Actually, two more there. I just got another comment. Uzumaki Leon says, "Call me crazy, but I think Muyumba had better chemistry with Hosetu. Shake my head." Interesting. I don't think Rosetto could have chemistry with, I don't know. I'm too tired to think of like a good analogy here to make this joke work, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, basically, no. It's like, yes, they had decent chemistry, but ultimately, no one was a stopper in the middle of the park.
Right.
So, like, Muyumba and Schleich work. It's just a matter of can they actually be on the same pitch? And so far has not been the case. It's, you know, whether it's international duty or whichever, but we haven't seen the combination that much. But when we have, it's like, okay, this can work.
Mm-hmm.
You have, you know, Muyumba's athleticism, you have Schleich's ability to read the game and sit in front of that defense. But I think it was a little bit strange tonight because you have Schleich and McCarty. Who's sitting?
Yeah.
Who's going? Like
They're both sitters to a degree.
right, and who's got the ability to? I mean, it was basically Schleich to go out and, you know, find the person that they need to mark and actually be able to stop them. I mean, it was Schleich to the degree, I guess, but it's just, yeah, it was a couple of players that were maybe a little too similar, and you need dynamism, but, you know, without the benefit of, without, you know, fixture congestion and all that, which definitely plays a part. So,
Yeah. Connor Watson says, oh, I'm sure Adam, new moderator in our Discord, by the way. Congratulations, Adam. I'm sure Adam could get a nice Cohen graphic set up real quick for you. Connor, what is your username in the Discord? I need to know what your username is. But yes, that is something we could ask Adam to do. And maybe he's a multi-level talent and can also provide for things like that. So we'll see. He also says, I think the only way Dax and Schleich work together is in a midfield three. I mean, it'll definitely reinforce them. Yeah.
right. I think with a Fortune, with a, I mean, you know, Muyumba in there too, possibly, but it's just, you know, I think it has in a way when we had maybe a different back line to it. I mean, Valentino's experimenting, we'll give him that. But it's, I think going into the match and just really previewing it, it was just like, yeah, I hope he doesn't do that. And instead, yeah, we did it, and you saw what happened. I think, hopefully he learns his lesson to never play them in a two-man midfield ever again.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Was not pretty.
All right, Niall. We'll let you go. If you don't have any other just final thoughts on anything we just said.
I mean, yeah, Rob is pretty much experimenting at this point. Which I don't know. It's kind of hard not to when you have players who are out, or you have players who are not performing up to their best, or if you're trying to change some things. So I feel like that's just how the rest of the season's honestly going to go. You're just going to continue experimenting until you find something that works and provides a stable solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully he can find something soon. Hopefully, well, that's the thing. Wiley's going to be out very soon. He has it all to do, man. Valentino, it is not an enviable task that he's got. So with all of this is with the caveat that Valentino, we know how hard this is for you, but it's just part of the thing. Like, us as fans, it's our job to pretty much look at the game, see what entertainment value there was, and criticize or loud when necessary. It's part of what happens for us and for you. Valentino, you basically have to figure out how to coach this team to get wins and deal with the criticism.
Yeah,
that's what it is, right?
But it's like at the end of the day, with him at least, I feel like I'm always gonna give him like a high five. I'm gonna be like, listen, you may have did this wrong, but it's like at the end, high five anyway, because I'm just like not gonna hold you to a super high standard for this, because this is not what you were hired to do per se. I mean, obviously it's in your, it's a potentiality that you can become a coach in this type of scenario, but it's not like we're gonna hire him to get us to the MLS championship. So when you fail to do that, I'm not gonna be like, man, we really screwed up by getting Rob Valentino in here. Like, it's like,
right. It's basically the lemonade thing. Like, man's not even working with lemons.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Well,
so,
yeah. No.
One last comment. Corbin Hyatt says, I was at the game. I'm also an RSL fan. Suck it. 5-2. Yeah. No, fair play. You guys were good. You guys, I was telling the chat earlier and our viewers earlier, you guys remind us of 2018 Atlanta United when we played that crazy, exciting, dynamic attacking team. So, hats off to you. We roasted back then. You can roast now, and then hopefully we can change hats again in a short amount of time. All right, guys. So I think that's pretty much it. Niall, we will talk to you later, bud. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep. Peace.
Have a good night.
You too.
And also, if you're part of the Discord, look out for, and also you'll see it on Twitter and some other things on our Patreon. Niall's very generously writing match recaps after every game for us, so please give those a look. He'd appreciate it, we'd appreciate it, and you get to see a little bit inside the mind of the genius Niall. So that is all for the comments. That is all for me, because I'm exhausted. AJ, is that all for you?
That's all for me too. So yeah, everyone, thank you so much for sticking around. MLS After Dark, whatever we want to call, just reacting way into the wee hours. But yeah, as you can tell, my eyes can barely open, and not even an Asian joke there, although you can probably find one. But yeah, I'm going to bed. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. That's Michael. I'm AJ. We will see you in the next video. Good night.
Have a good night, guys.